by the country. Yeah, thank you.
It's a simple one again. Was there any point during this crisis when you considered your position, when you thought it would be the best thing to do for the Labour Party and the country to stand down?
No, but I'm not arrogant, and I'm never complacent. And I understand that you've got to take responsibility as a leader for what is happening. But I believe that the policies that we're pursuing are right for the country. I believe that they're already, in some instances, on the economy showing results. I'm determined to clean up politics. This is something that the House of Commons should have addressed years ago, and now the government and the political parties have, in a sense, had to take this matter in hand themselves, and I look for all-party cooperation on this, and I believe we'll get it. So there is a job to do. I'm going to keep on doing it. I've got a great team to be able to do it and to conduct the job. We are essentially telling you today the 3 priorities that will inform the work of the government over the next few months, and the whole of the cabinet reshuffle and the later changes in the government will be designed to achieve these 3 priorities for our country. Yeah.
Sean Dilley from TalkSport Radio. So you spelt out exactly what you intend to do.
That's a question on the British Lines tour, no?
Well, that was when we interviewed you, of course, the other day. But we set out specifically, you set out specifically what you intend to do to clean up politics. Can you describe to the electorate exactly what it is about you as a person that makes you think you're the right person to lead us forward, sir?
Well, I've always been brought up to believe that you've got to act with integrity at all times. To be honest, when I look at this expenses crisis, I remember the words of my father, and I remember what he told me: always be honest, always sort things out if things are wrong, and never allow things to fester without taking action. And I do believe that we've got to be quick in the action we take on this expenses crisis. Look, every MP is going to have their expenses examined for the last 4 years, not by a newspaper, but by an independent auditor appointed to do exactly that job. The Code of Conduct will be mandatory on members of Parliament. And of course, the legislation that we're bringing in will mean that instead of self-regulation, that was the old gentleman's club that I and many others entered in the 1980s. It's got to be changed, and it's got to be statutory regulation. So I can assure people not only of my determination to do it, but I believe that any decent-minded citizen in this country has got a right to expect of the politicians that they will show, and not just they will show in practice that they're doing everything to meet the highest public standards, the highest standards in public life. George.
Well, Prime Minister, there's still Jeremy Thompson here live at Westminster, and even as Gordon Brown speaks live from Downing Street, another dramatic stand down. Caroline Flint, Minister for Europe, not a full cabinet member, but an attendee of cabinet, has decided that she is going to quit the government as well. Yet another body blow to Gordon Brown, this coming less than 24 hours after she spoke to us last night and said that she backed the Prime Minister. We'll have more on that. Let's go back to that Downing Street press conference.
2 years ago, that we were going to have a world economic recession that was the deepest for more than 60 years, and at the same time, we were going to have a political fallout from mistakes that members of Parliament had made that was so great, because this has been seen by people as an expenses election. Then, of course, the policies that we would have pursued would have taken action as early as possible on these issues. Now we're faced with these issues, we deal with them, we take them head on. But I accept that while you're saying that you're going to deal with the expenses crisis, we've got to show that the action has actually been taken in the statute book. We've got to show that the code of conduct is imposed. We've got to show that MPs who've made mistakes are disciplined. We've got to show that action has been taken, and that's what I'm determined to do. And that's why I say to people in my own party, look, I understand that when it's tough times, it is difficult for people. But you don't walk away. You don't say that let someone else take over. You get on with the job. And I think that the policies that we're pursuing, and we're stepping them up with more intensity over the next few weeks, as you will see, are the right policies for the country.
From Newsnight, you say that if you didn't think that you were the right person for the job, you would walk away. Do you not think it would be easier to convince other people that you are the right person for the job if you had either a mandate from the public, from the voters, or a mandate from your party? Isn't the fact that you're in this difficulty a symptom of the fact that you have neither of those things?
Well, I don't agree about... I was elected with almost unanimity by our party, with most MPs nominating me. As far as the country is concerned, look, we're living in a parliamentary system where a government is elected through it having a majority in the House of Commons. The terms are already set down in the Constitution. Of course, there'll be an election at some point, but it's right to say, in the middle of a recession, in the middle of difficulties that you face as a result of a crisis around the world, you don't walk away. You get on with the business of showing people that you're taking action. And I believe that the right thing to do in the next few weeks is to take action on the car industry, is talk to the French and the Germans and the other Europeans about joint action in Europe, as I'll be doing, to move forward with our plans to deal with unemployment and to help small businesses. Look, I'm not complacent. I want to acknowledge people's worries about the current situation, but I also know that people in their hearts know it's right in the middle of an economic crisis and dealing with political problems that have got to be solved on expenses. It's just right to get on with the job and to do the work and then finish the work, and then of course people will have a chance to have their views and make them known at a general election. Yep.
Paul Wall from the Evening Standard. We hear that Caroline Flint has just resigned, yet last night she came out and gave you her full support. What does that say about the protestations of support from your other ministers? Are they going to resign too now?
Well, Caroline Flint was and has been a very good minister. You know, she was the Minister for Employment and then she was the Minister for Housing and did a huge amount of work preparing the way with our housing policy for what we're doing now. And she was a very successful minister for Europe. I asked Caroline if she would take on the job attending the cabinet, and so she'd be present at every cabinet meeting. Unfortunately, she didn't see it that way, and that's where it's left. We've got a new Minister for Europe, and I think you'll be able to see this announced in the next few minutes, and that is Glynis Kinnock, who will join the House of Lords immediately. Thank you.
Would you not accept it looks pretty chaotic, though?
Not at all. We're getting on calmly and in an ordered way with the business of a reshuffle. I don't think in past reshuffles you've had the full cabinet and other ministers announced in such a speedy way. If I remember, even my past reshuffles, it's usually at 6 o'clock in the evening that you receive the first notice of a press release. So I think this has been done in an ordered and calm way, but it's in recognition that we understand the feelings of the British people. We understand what people are saying to us. They're angry about MPs' expenses. They're worried about the economy, and they want to know that the action that we're taking is the right action. They've seen the policies announced, but they want to know the results. They cannot judge them yet. And so I understand that people have felt this way, but it's right for us to get on with the business of government, and I think all of you, I know this is always a long day when a reshuffle starts to happen, but I think you acknowledge that this has gone in an ordered and calm way, and you've had the announcement at 4:30. Yes, behind me. Thanks.
You could really reassert your authority, Prime Minister, by dissolving Parliament and holding a general election. Do you fear the judgment of the people?
No, not at all. And I accept what the people have said in the last day. And I'm sensitive to people's worries about what's happening to the economy. I'm also, of course, annoyed and appalled by what's happened over MPs' expenses. I want to see the system cleaned up as soon as possible. I think what people are saying to us is get us through this recession, clean up the politics of this country, and prepare our public services and our economy for the best future possible. And when some people doubt whether the next generation can do as well as the last generation, whether the children can do as well as themselves, given these global economic problems, I assure them of my faith that the next generation will do better than the last, that the world economy and then the British economy as a result of that will grow substantially over the next period of years, and that people will enjoy greater prosperity and better public services in the years to come. So I think that's when they see what we're trying to do, obviously as a result of the changes that we're making and the focus of our work, I think they'll appreciate that we're getting on with the job. Yeah.
Rob Hutton from Bloomberg News. Prime Minister, you say you want constitutional reform and an improvement to democracy. You've got 350 elected MPs and you can't find one of them to be Europe Minister. Why are we having to appoint more people to the House of Lords?
Because Glynis Kinnock is an excellent Minister for Europe who's enjoyed a huge reputation in the European Parliament for the work she's done. Great contacts with not just the individual countries of Europe. And remember, this is about preparing for European councils, people who will get on with the governments in the rest of the country and persuade them to do things. She's an excellent appointment.